Mortal Kombat 1, a fun game plagued with poor decisions, technical issues, and corporate greed. Putting aside things like the drop-in customization options from 11 and the desync issues, in a vacuum, Mortal Kombat 1 is a very fun game. However, interest has dropped off very, very quickly. I believe that there are 6 main components that make Mortal Kombat 1 a great game that nobody wanted. Number 1, the reset. A problem that arose before the game was even announced. At the end of the Mortal Kombat 11 story, it was heavily implied that Liu Kang was going to hard reset the universe, which is something that nobody asked for. Especially since just 2 games prior, we had done the exact same thing. Yes, the new universe is well done and a lot of the changes are for the better, but we just lost 3 games of character development and newcomers. And before that, we just lost 7 of the exact same thing with Mortal Kombat 9's reboot. So while the new era is cool and all, I think pretty much everyone was happy where the universe was in MK11 and would have been happy if it continued that way. And pretty much everyone agreed that the idea of resetting the universe again just felt unnecessary. So before the game even existed, MK1 was off to a rocky start in the eyes of the community. Number 2, the roster. This is an unfortunate one, because I genuinely believe it came from a place of affection. The MK crew heard the community. Where are the 3D era characters? Why are Kenshi and Frost the only 3D era characters that get to come back? And then they overcorrected a bit. Instead of bringing in like Kenshi plus 1 or 2 that we haven't seen in a while, they brought back 5 that we hadn't seen since Armageddon, with a total of 7 3D era characters, 8 if you count Quan Chi. All these combatants were great imaginings of the original characters, mostly, and it was good to see them again. But there were too many at the expense of fan favorites. In addition, they reset the entire universe and didn't add in a single new character, especially considering how good the new characters have been in the NRS era. Like, sure, Collector's a bit lame, but he's still better than the likes of Mavado, Kira, and Taven. And something else I think the MK crew didn't really consider was just how much the community either didn't know or didn't care about 3D era characters, because a lot of the MK community joined in at 9 and X. So the positives of, oh look, it's Li Mei and Raiko, meant a lot less than the negatives are, where are Sonya and the cyborgs? So while the MK1 roster is really cool for an old school fan like myself, and probably for you, the casual fans, which is 80% of the Mortal Kombat player base, didn't care and just felt disappointed that Kabal, Cyrax, and Sonya weren't playable. Number 3, the cameos. A hard knee-jerk reaction from the community, followed by a throwing up of the hands of the MK crew. Whether it's fair or not, the millisecond that cameos got shown off, the community echoed, "But can we play without them?" A sentiment that still continues to this day. Cameos were an honest, fun idea. It was like a halfway point between standard 1v1 fighting and the tag system they had in 9 that people really liked, but the community didn't care. They saw something different and went, "That is not what I am used to." If you actually like cameos or not is immaterial at this point, because before the game was released or was even playable, the online consensus was formed of cameos. All my homies hate cameos. To be completely fair, the cameo system is fine. It's fun, it works, it changes up the fight but not too much, and I bet in a completely different game, it would be universally enjoyed. The cameo system in MK1 is like ordering a steak and being brought a nice piece of chicken. It's like, yeah, it's good and all, but this is just literally not what I asked for. Number 4, Invasions mode. The biggest blunder, I believe, with Invasions mode was just how long they waited to announce it. It should have been one of the biggest selling points of the game. The secondary single player content that was going to act as the Crypt, the Towers of Time, and the lore expansion all rolled into one. And yet they waited until like a week before the game launched, 3 weeks after a frickin' Brazilian cover art got leaked, to explain what the hell Invasions mode even was. People were done pre-ordering, just sitting around waiting for the game to come out, making wild assumptions about what the Crypt would look like. Maybe it'll have create a character. Will it be part of the story? Will it be closer to X or 11's versions? Then they finally came out and explained it, and the community was just kind of like, what the hell is even that? Invasions mode as a concept is good. It's fun, it's functional, it's a bit grindy, but overall it's not bad. We get some extra lore, and with Season 3, all the quality of life stuff has increased greatly. But once again, it was basically a surprise, and it didn't really get sold to us. Just when it was too late for it to affect anybody's opinions, they came out and were like, oh, by the way, here's this thing, and you're not getting the thing you expected / wanted, leaving the community just kind of shrug. Number 5, DLC. Kombat Pack 1 has been a blur of confusion, discontent, and disappointment. From the underwhelming lineup to them being super unclear about the release schedule. I still get comments and messages asking, hey, if I buy the Kombat Pack right now, can I play all of the characters immediately? A lot of people were confused about / rolling their eyes about Omni-Man and Homelander both getting in the same pack. People were, and still are, annoyed that Ermac and Quan Chi were in the story mode, but they weren't on the roster so they could be charged for. Kate is just kinda mid, and I think pretty much everyone's happy about Peacemaker, so that's fine. Then you've got miscellaneous stuff like how Omni-Man's voice pack was more expensive than the playable character, and how they started selling Invasions mode skins despite the fact that they were explicit about you have to play Invasions mode to get these. There's no other way. It's special seasonal content. You have to FOMO. And possibly the most egregious part of the DLC shenanigans, the fatalities. Number 6, controversy. The thing that hurt Mortal Kombat 1 the most, everything else could be hand-waved, forgiven, or patched, was greed. Warner Brothers had a pretty volatile year, and they were really hoping to recoup some of those costs by milking one of their most successful franchises. All that happened, though, was they hurt the game and bludgeoned Mortal Kombat's reputation as a whole. From the absurd amount of DLC that was available at the start to the raw price of it, certain costumes going for around $10. Like so many other companies, they looked at Fortnite and went, hey, let's do that! Without considering the fact that Fortnite gets away with it because Fortnite isn't $80. And the worst example of this corporate nickel and diming of the fan base was in the holiday fatalities. For many people, seeing them selling fatalities at all was just an insult that they didn't take lightly. And a lot of members of the community were turned off of MK1 on principle because of this. Not to mention the fact that the fatalities were originally going to be $10 each, until the uproar was so aggressive that it became $10 for the 3-pack. Then you had a mini controversy with Season 1 of Invasions mode, where there was a certain chest that you couldn't open unless you had Shang Tsung, who was a DLC character. So they want you to invest an extra $6 just to open one chest. And that also implied that Shang Tsung may have originally been on the base roster, and they went, you know what, let's take him out and sell him. And of course you have the JCVD Johnny Cage skin, which was touted explicitly as pre-order exclusive, which was then added to the marketplace about a month after the game released for purchase. If it wasn't for WB's aggressive monetary decisions, Mortal Kombat 1's standing in the community would be a lot higher than it currently is, even with its other problem. And it's obviously not something that anybody wanted. But I will say, again, to be fair, most of the DLC is really good. The holiday-themed fatalities are awesome. Most of the costumes are bangers. And it's really cool having Jean-Claude Van Damme in the game because he was the inspiration for the entire franchise. But the fact that they felt it appropriate to charge so much for everything just put a bad taste in the mouth of the community. Some of these things were really easy to see coming. Others, I can understand how the MK crew might have gotten blindsided. But it's a damn shame. If you put away all these opinions and issues, under the skin, the flesh of Mortal Kombat 1 is fun. It's possibly one of the best games in the series. But it's just not the game people wanted.